Episode 6 Bashar, the stockade, Khanyedar. While Jim was ashore, the doctor now tells the story. دم جيم سر كناري نها دكتور ما تشيروكي بيجي.
It was about 1:30 when the two boats went ashore from the Hispaniola, and the captain, the squire, and I were talking in the cabin. Down came Hunter, who was another honest man.
Jim Hawkins was on one of those boats. He's gone ashore with the rest, he said.
We trusted Jim, but we were worried about his safety. The first two boats had gone far to the right. There was a man waiting in each of the boats on the shore. After a while, Hunter and I decided to take another rowing boat and go ashore in order to explore. The two men saw us, but did nothing. We came straight in the direction of a stockade, which we had seen on the treasure map. When we landed, I jumped out holding two louder pistols and ran into the trees. I hadn't gone more than 100 yards when I came to an open area and saw the stockade. There was a little hill that had a freshwater spring coming out of it. A strong wooden house, which was big enough to hold about 20 people, had been built by the spring. Each wall had several holes in it so that muskets could be fired from inside. All around, a wide space had been cleared, and then the stockade was completed by a tall fence. With its fresh water and strong walls, the stockade would be the best place for us to stay. Suddenly, from across the island, there came the terrible cry of a dying man. I made my decision in a moment, ran towards the shore, and jumped into the boat. We were soon on board the Hispaniola again, where everyone was frightened and worried. I told the captain my idea, and we made a plan. We gave old Red Rose 3 or 4 loaded muskets and left him on the ship to watch the 6 seamen we didn't trust. Then we started filling the boat with supplies, gunpowder, muskets, bags of biscuits, small barrels of meat and brandy, and of course, my medicine chest. As we rowed to the shore, one of the seamen much further up the beach saw us and ran into the woods. We unloaded the supplies and left Joyce, who was another honest man, to look after the supplies. Hunter and I returned for a second load. The reason why we risked the second trip was that, though the majority of the crew were on the island, not one of them had a gun. When we had unloaded after the second trip, Hunter and Joyce stayed ashore, and I rowed as fast as I could back to the Hispaniola. Then the Squire, Captain Smollett, Red Rose, myself, and one of the other sailors, Abraham Gray, climbed into the boat. This third trip was dangerous. There were too many men, and we were also carrying another load of supplies. The sea had become rougher, and several times some water came over the side of the boat. Suddenly, the captain said,
Walk behind us! The gun!
The 5 men on board were preparing to fire the cannon.
Israel was Flint's gunner,
said Gray, with fear in his voice.
We have forgotten all about this powerful gun.
Trelawney, who was the best of us with a gun, loaded his musket. We stopped rowing, then he took aim, and he fired. Just at that moment, his right hands, who had been preparing the gun, bent down. The shot flew past him and hit one of the other men on deck. Then we heard shouting from the ship and also from the shore, where we could now see the other pirates coming out of the woods. It was not long until a shot from the cannon fell wide by our boat, and she began to sing. Luckily, we were not far from the shore. As we walked through the waves and up onto the beach, our poor boat and the back half of our powder and supplies lay underwater behind us.
Quickly, gentlemen, there it is!
To make things worse, we could now hear shouting coming from the woods nearby.
Hurry, they're gaining on us! Hurry! You're next, Mr. Joyce. Here.
Episode 6 بخش 2 The first day in the stockade یکم رشد نافخونی دار بود.
We ran as quickly as we could to the stockade, and at every step we could hear the pirates' voices more loudly. Just as we reached the stockade, 7 men appeared out of the woods. The Sequoia and I fired and saw that Hatcher and Joyce from inside the log house. One of the mutineers fell to the ground and the rest turned and ran into the trees. We went to look at the man who had fallen. Then suddenly a shot came out of the trees and hit poor Tom Redworth. He cried out with pain. And we carried him bleeding inside the wooden house. The Sequoia fell down beside him and kissed his hand, crying like a child. Redworth was a good man and had always followed orders silently and well. Not long after that, he closed his eyes and died. The captain, whose pockets were full of things he had taken from the ship, took out a flag and put it carefully over Thomas' body. Then Captain Smollett put another flag on a tall tree branch high above. A flag! Following that, the captain came to me and spoke quietly and said,
Dr. Livesey, how many weeks is it until Blandly will send a ship to look for us?
I told him it would be months and not weeks. By the end of August, Blandly will send a ship to look for us.
Well, sir, then it's very bad that we lost the second lot of supplies. The food supplies are very limited.
Just then, with a loud roar, a cannonball landed inside the stockade.
Perhaps they could see the flag from the ship,
said the captain. We were safe enough inside, but the balls continued to fall throughout the evening.
The woods between us and the beach are probably safe, said the captain after several hours. And it will now be low tide. Our supplies shouldn't be underwater now. I need some volunteers to go and bring them back.
Then Gray and Hunter volunteered and went quietly down to the shore, but they were too late. 4 or 5 of other mutineers were already there, lowering our supplies onto one of their small boats. Silver was in the boat, and all of the men now had muskets, which must have been kept secretly on the ship. There were now only 6 of us left, with food supplies to last us for only about 10 days. Redruth was dead, and we didn't know what had happened to Jim Hawkins. Then, suddenly, there was a call from outside.
Doctor! Squire! Captain!
Cried a voice, and I ran to the door and saw Jim Hawkins climbing safely over the stockade fence.
Episode 6. Bashar said, I joined the others as Gashmav Havala. Jim Hawkins continues the story. Now Jim Hawkins from the Jericho Beach.
Bin Gun knows where your captain's headed for.
As soon as Ben Gunn saw the flag on the stockade, he started walking.
Friends, sure enough.
Come on. Come along.
When you see your friends, tell the squire or the doctor to come and see me. You know where to find me, up in the woods where you saw me today.
Good.
And tell them there is a good reason why I'm hiding.
Can I go now? The cannon suddenly started firing again, and we ran in different directions into the trees. Slowly, I went down to the hill closer to the sea, and soon I could see the Hispaniola, and I could see the Jolly Roger, the black flag of piracy, flying from her mast. As I was going down towards the stockade, I saw a large white rock some distance further along the beach. I thought that this might be the rock that Ben Gunn has spoken about, and that one day, if I needed a boat, I would know where to look. There was a warm welcome for me at the stockade, and I happily told them my story. Later that evening, we built old Tom Redruth in the sand and stood silently around him for a while. Then we ate some meat and drank some brandy. The squire, the doctor, and the captain discussed what to do. We had very little food, but it was decided that we would fight the pirates as best as we could.
We will fight the pirates as best as we could.
There were 15 of them now, and 2 of those had been shot and hurt. To help us, on the other hand, there was also the rum the pirates were drinking. Though the pirates were half a mile away, we could hear them well, singing and shouting late into the night. I was very tired, and when at last I got to sleep, I slept like a log. Episode 6. خلقاشاشه بشه 4. Silver's visit. Saradona Silver. I was woken up by the sound of voices early the next morning. I hear someone saying,
There is a white flag. It's Silver.
There was a man with silver who shouted,
Captain Silver's here, sir, to make peace.
Captain Silver to come aboard and make terms.
Captain Silver? I don't know him. Who is he?
cried the captain, adding to himself,
So it is Captain now, is it?
sir. These poor lads here have chosen me captain after your desertion, sir.
We want to talk to you and agree something.
The Silver?
It may be a trick. Gray, Joyce, Hunter, keep stations.
And then Silver came up close to the fence, threw over his crash, and with a great effort managed to climb over. When he finally got near the log house, he sat down heavily on the sand.
To give me a leg up again. If you've anything to say, you better say it. You're right, Captain. Well, the long and the short of it be this. I want Flint's map, and I can risk half my crew to get 'em. But that ain't Captain Silver's way. Try reasoning first, says I.
You're not in Parliament yet, John Silver. Come to the point.
You're a good man, Doctor. I never seen a better. And I'd hate to see the likes of you skewered on the end of a pike. So here be my terms.
We want that treasure, and you have the map, don't you?
We want that treasure. If you give us the map and stop shouting poor seamen, we will give you a choice. You help us get the treasure, then you come with us on the ship, and I promise I will leave you somewhere safe ashore, or you can stay here. We will give you half of the supplies, and I promise I will tell the first ship we see to come and get you. Is that all?
Every last word, by thunder.
Now,
Said the captain.
you will hear me. If you come here, one by one, without guns, I will put you all in irons and take you home to England for a fair trial. If you don't, you are beaten anyway. You can't find the treasure, you can't save the ship, and you can't even fight us. Now, off you go.
Give me a hand up, will you?
Not I.
Who give me a hand, I say?
Silver was red with anger. With much difficulty, he pulled himself along the ground to where his crash lay. Then he stood up and spat in the spring.
There.
He cried.
That is what I think of you. I am going to destroy this all-stockade.
Them that die will be the lucky ones.
And swearing loudly, he moved away, pulled himself slowly over the fence, and was gone. The captain soon made sure that we all had muskets and told us where to stand. There were more of them than there were of us, but at least we had the stockade. After an hour of waiting, a group of mutineers suddenly appeared from the woods on the north side and ran towards the fence.
Truce be over! Cutlasses, you swabs!
Shots came from the woods to the other side. Sapphire and Gray fired again and again from inside the log house and hit 3 men as they climbed over the fence. 2 of them were shot dead and the third ran away. But 4 more had got inside the fence and they were on us with pistols and swords.
Burn 'em, boys, burn 'em! Burn 'em, you swabs!
One of the pirates put his hands on Hunter's musket, pulled it through the hole in the stockade wall, and used it to hit Hunter hard on the head. Then we picked up swords and ran out of the house to fight. I saw the doctor cut a man across the face. Then Abraham Gray cut a man who came to attack me. The sequoia was holding the captain, who was badly hurt. And we saw that Hunter was lying on the floor and was still alive, but Joyce had been shot dead. After a few minutes of terrible fighting, it was all over. We had won. 6 of their men lay dead or dying, and the rest had run away.